now the narrative of pushback on the term magical Black woman, because it almost seems as though, oh, you're so magical, you don't need rest, you don't need self-care, you don't need these things. And
I need a nap.
Right. Yes, we are strong, but we are also human. So I like the fact that we're like, look, and I can also go to sleep.
And I can also go to sleep. And I can sleep in.
Yes.
And get a massage.
And I can get a
Go to a
massage.
spa.
Exactly. Like the push to be magical is not like, because it was almost like an excuse to just take on more of a burden for someone else.
Not doing it. Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are excited today to have Dr. Quincy Brown here with us. Quincy hails from the Bronx, New York, and is the former director of Space, STEM, and Workforce Policy at the National Space Council, the Office of the Vice President of the United States of America. She was previously the senior policy advisor in the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. And currently, she is an entrepreneur and principal at Futures in Innovation, an organization that she started with her husband, Ken, in January of 2025. Dr. Brown has a Doctor of Philosophy in Computer Science and a Master's of Science in Computer Science from Drexel University, as well as a Bachelor's of Science in Electrical Engineering at North Carolina A&T State University. Across 2 presidencies, she has shaped national policy, aligning federal agencies, nonprofit, and industry partners to launch novel initiatives. She's a proven expert who leverages data-driven insights, strategic partnerships, and evidence-based research to shape national policy, scale innovative initiatives, and cultivate cross-culture collaborations. Some other claims to fame of Dr. Brown are she is the co-founder of Black Computer, who we've talked about extensively on this podcast. She was the program director for STEM education research at AAAS and the head of programs, the programs department at AnitaB.org. In addition to all of those things, she's a former lecturer at UC Berkeley and gained tenure in computer science at Bowie State University. She was also a postdoc in the HCI lab at the University of Maryland, College Park. So welcome, Dr. Brown.
Thank you.
I'm going to call you Quincy from here on out. I just had to, for the intro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we're so excited we've been trying to do this for 3 years.
Yeah,
Hey,
I said 3 at the same time, so 3 years.
That feels right.
Has it really been 3?
Yeah.
It's been 3 years.
Look, persistence, because when you have somebody who is such a wealth of knowledge, like it's worth continuing. There's some people who are like, oh, you're busy. All right, bye. Like,
She's not joking.
yes. So Quincy, I go way back with Quincy when I remember we met at, was it ARCS or Tapia? One of the two.
Yeah. I think it was the Tapia. Well, we have a picture from Tapia.
We do have the picture from, but I think I knew you before the picture. So maybe it was ARCS, which was a conference that Juan had called African American Researchers in Computing Sciences. And I just remember us like just being in the hallway. Like I had never just been in a place with so many Black people, especially Black women who were just about tech. And we're just talking like this and that. We should do this. We should do that. Like just being able to bounce tech ideas off of Black women was just amazing to me. So fast forward, Jesus, how many years?
So I don't know, a couple years though. We took that picture.
Yes.
With Yolanda.
Yeah,
Dr.
we were
Yolanda
all,
Rankin.
you were a postdoc or were you still in grad school at that
students.
time? We were all still students.
students.
Oh my gosh.
We were all still
That's
students.
mind-blowing.
Yes.
Working on our PhDs.
Mm-hmm.
In Orlando.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
And we were eating something.
Because there's plates in the picture.
There are plates in the picture.
Oh, y'all can see this picture. That's amazing.
I'll put the picture in the show notes.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were, just trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
Making it.
Because everything was a question mark. Everything was a gray area. We were just like, I want to do stuff. My advisor feels differently. Things.
Yeah. Yeah. Then fast forward 10 years?
Yeah.
At Black Computer.
Yeah, we recreated the picture.
We recreated the picture. And I think that was 2018.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to date us. We are 3 years from having to do it again.
We need to do it again. We have to. Look, let me know when you are ready.
Every 10 years, we are going to take this picture.
Not that we don't see each other every 10 years, but, we have to do, and we have to do it in a specific order.
Yes. We have to recreate it every 10 years. So we're 3 years out from doing this a third time.
That's amazing. I don't know. I'm pretty sure the first time we met, I was at a conference that I didn't belong at.
I remember. You absolutely belonged there.
Don't let Jeremy fool you.
Jeremy was like,
tries to pretend to be
where I am. I don't even know why I'm here.
I did not know what was happening.
I don't know any of these people. Who are these people?
Right.
What am I supposed to be doing here? And I was like, girl, get your bagel. Warm up your bagel. It was over breakfast. Get your orange juice. And come sit down and let me give you the lay of the land. And yes, you belong here. And here are all the people.
I learned so much. I was bamboozled into that conference. It was a lot.
Sorry, I'm
people in retrospect, folks were like, "Oh, we knew at that point what was happening to you."
Yeah,
and no one told me.
She calls herself a fake computer scientist. Yeah, which none of us we don't subscribe to that.
No, not at all.
Anyways,
not at all.
This isn't about me. This is about Quincy.
But I do remember that.
Yeah.
You were like, what am I doing here? I don't know. Food is a common theme here. But it was like over breakfast or something. Mm-hmm. You were kind of wandering. I was like, girl, just come on. Get your bagel.
Yeah, and then Kyla overslept one morning.
And you had to be me.
And I had to lead an entire conference that I didn't know, why am I here?
But the thing is, with great leadership, you don't need to be present for people to know what to do.
People didn't
You've disseminated the tasks.
People had no idea that I wasn't supposed to go the way that it went.
Nobody knew that I was not there. But that's the mark of a great leader. I feel like I prepared everybody to do the things.
I don't think that. No, I was like, there's an agenda. We're going to follow the agenda.
It's a whole agenda. There are people who need to be in places, and they know where they need to be.
Yeah, there you go.
One thing I forgot to bring up. During that monumental time when we first met at ARCS, we came up with these ideas about, oh my gosh, we want to talk about computing and culturally authentic technology. And we had all these ideas. And I always often reference on this platform that was my first publication. My advisor told me I was not ready to publish. I felt otherwise. And it was Wanda, you, Yolanda, Sheena, Lachelle. That's right. And all of us in the hallway. It was a conversation that turned into a series of calls that turned into a paper that turned into You Are Accepted. So, I mean,
we had, in the proper order of things, we had no business deciding we were just going to be publishing on our own.
Not at all.
With no advisor.
No advisor on it. Well, I feel like Yolanda was our advisor because she was like, okay, y'all.
The furthest one along. I think she was the furthest one along. We just were like, we need to publish. Somebody said we have to publish. Okay, we about to publish. With no advisor.
I'm cracking up.
But it was great.
I was playing.
I mean,
that's amazing.
It was published. I think it was presented as well. I
think so.
It was HCII, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was just something to show, to me, it was something that said, you can do this. You got this. You don't need anybody's permission to ask to do this.
Yeah. You don't have to wait your turn.
Yeah.
Right? There's always something that you can do. There's always a time for you to do a thing, and you do it and you learn and you grow and you just keep doing it. So I haven't read that paper in a long time. I'm not sure what I think if I read it, but you know what? To your point, I'm proud that we did it.
Yes.
We just did it.
It
right?
was more than the paper. It was like what it meant to us as people to do this together.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But back to you, Quincy. So Jeremy read all of your accolades. When you were growing up in the Bronx, did you know that you were going to be the person who went on to do all of these things? Like what was life like? Were you already science and technology inclined? Like, yeah, what were your...
There's a lot of head shaking going on.
A lot of head shaking going on. Let's see. I think language then was so different also than it is now, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So like, I don't know that anybody talked about STEM. I don't know, right? Like we just didn't talk about those things in the same kind of way that we do now. I grew up in the Bronx. My parents still live they live in the apartment that I grew up in. They've been there, I don't know, over 50 years, almost 60 years, something like that. So
wow.
That's rent controlled?
No, not quite. That's a whole other thing.
That's like the hustle, but if it was, that would be like amazing.
No, they live in a co-op. It's actually called Co-op City, in the Bronx. Same phone number that they've had there my whole life. Yeah.
That's so cool.
And so, I grew up in the gifted program. So I think I joined it in like second grade. Where kids from the Bronx, all over the Bronx, were bused to one particular school in the borough. And we were just kids. So like, I'm sure there was more to it. And the adults and the experts and a lot of research presumably went into all of this. But for us, we were just kids. I stayed with that cohort of kids. Students, I don't know. Yeah, well, I'm going to call us kids because we were just kids.
We were kids. Yeah.
We were kids from second grade until high school. And then I attended the Bronx High School of Science. Oh. So, was I math and science inclined? I guess so. It didn't feel like it, but we did like Olympics of the mind. I loved math. In hindsight, looking back at like grades and things, I was not particularly good at it.
Interesting.
I got some not great grades. We'll call them not great grades.
As we do at times.
I was a kid, right? Like I just wanted to watch TV and run around and play and like do all the things. And so, and again, that was a time where, my parents were not let's sit down and do all these things. It was, get your homework done. Did you do your homework? Or not? Like,
right.
Right. So it was just a very different time than it is now. And, to some degree, a little different than my own kids' upbringing. And went to Bronx High School of Science. Again, there was not a particularly stellar, outstanding student.
But you were gifted.
But I was, apparently so, I was gifted.
I'm just saying, if you're average in a room of gifted people, you are still gifted.
Right. So like, I try to keep that in mind and that it didn't feel special. Right. So there wasn't like this air of specialness about it. It was just my everyday normal. But even in high school, I ended up I went to summer school because I needed, there were some grades that weren't the way they were supposed to be. Yeah. And then junior year-ish, somewhere in there, I learned about engineering. I have told the story a few times now, but I went to a program at the Coast Guard Academy.
Nice.
And learned about different types of engineering, like electrical, civil, mechanical. It was kind of one of those things in New London, Connecticut. And learned that all
Is
freshmen...
that near Groton, Connecticut?
I don't know.
I went to Groton, but the submarine school is like across the river from there.
I'm sure it can't be far.
I know exactly where you were. I worked out in their gym. That's somewhere. Nobody ever references this random place in Connecticut because there's no reason to be there.
Yeah, but I was determined that's where I was going to go. I was going to major in engineering. I fell in love with electrical engineering. We had breadboards and little jumper wires and
it is fun.
LED.
I gotta say,
and you put it all together, and the light goes on, and that was like
everything.
Everything. Everything. To this day, I am still like really at heart an electrical engineer who just wants to do hardware. To this day,
you're like, give me a circuit.
Give me a circuit. Right.
Like all the kids in my classes, like when they get to the point where it does something that they told it to do, it's like, I'm an engineer now.
Yeah.
Y'all can't tell me nothing.
Can't tell me nothing.
Not a thing. And that wasn't even software involved. That was literally just the jumper, the breadboard, the battery, and the LED. Like,
just put the stuff together.
Just put the stuff together. And the thing, just the light went on, flicked the switch. Like, that just moved me in a way that very few things ever have.
Amazing.
Right. And so I was determined. And then also, again, back in the day, all incoming freshmen got a computer.
Oh.
Right? So, like, you get a computer and you get to do this thing. All you got to do is go to the Coast Guard Academy. Sign me up.
I like it.
Right?
That's great.
So that's where I was determined to go. At some point in there, I learned that in order to graduate, because again, it's the Coast Guard Academy, right?
Yeah.
So it's like water.
Yeah.
You have to like jump off the boat into the water, save some body, swim.
Like
right?
the ocean.
Like the ocean, right? Because it's the coast.
But what part of electrical means water? So that already does not compute.
Not even that. I did not know how to swim. I learned to swim about 2 summers ago.
Oh, wow.
What?
So what I wasn't going to do was jump off of anything into the ocean.
I'm with you.
Wait a minute. No community pools.
Oh, there were pools.
There's pools, but
Did you get in them?
You walk.
I got it. I got in them. I think I had a traumatic experience at sleepaway camp.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
You're gonna say nothing else.
Yeah, So like, I wasn't necessarily afraid of water, but I was afraid of drowning and being in water in which I can't stand up in.
Yeah.
And that's been literally my whole life.
A whole different.
I took lessons 2 summers ago.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 summers ago.
Well, I'm proud of you for taking lessons.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And like, eventually by the end of my lessons, I jumped into the 9-foot, the deep end, and like, did my thing for like a minute and was holding on for dear life as soon as it was done. But like, it took me literally my whole life.
But you have so much more life, so it didn't take you
But I have
your
so
whole
much more life. So like, I did it, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was the end of me in the Coast Guard. But like, I was...
Fair.
But that was not the end of me in engineering.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned about North Carolina A&T. I was babysitting for someone who had a friend who had worked at Bell Labs. And I'm sure there are a lot of Black engineers who can accredit through somewhere in their academic lineage, right? That
Bell
set
Labs.
of folks who came out of Bell
My
Labs.
dad.
Yeah.
I'm part of you.
Right? And he was like, if you want to do engineering, you should go to A&T. They graduate the most number of Black engineers. And I was like, sign me up. 'Cause the other thing wasn't working, but that would have worked.
Yes.
I was also a kid of the different world and was like, HBCU, and I'm going to go down south from New York because down south was a place.
Yes.
And
It still is.
it still is, right?
No. When I got to Florida, people from where the area we're from, consider here down south. Here, where we are, they consider Miami down south. People are like, oh, I went down south. I'm like, we are currently down south. I don't know if you know this.
In the state of Florida, down south means Fort Lauderdale,
Right, it
Miami,
means Fort Lauderdale,
West Palm,
Miami.
down there.
But people don't know they're already in the down south when they're talking about
We do know
somebody else
that.
from down
Are you a
south.
Floridian, Jeremy?
I am.
Oh, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. There's not a lot of us really.
Okay. I did not
But
know
my
that.
family's from Mississippi. Okay, so I'm
Down
from
south.
the South.
Okay, the
real.
South.
From
versus-
down south. What
Down
F.
south.
Like the deep South.
Yeah. Mississippi, it doesn't get much deeper than that. Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah. So that's how I ended up going to A&T and majoring in electrical engineering. I wanted to design circuit boards. That's like
Okay.
the only thing I've ever wanted to do. And it's, Kyla, as you mentioned, I've done a lot of things in my life and career. I've never actually done that.
That's so wild. I didn't even think about that. Like, so when you got to A&T, like you took the EE curriculum,
Right.
but then you
Got a whole degree.
Yeah.
I got a whole degree. I discovered my love of math.
Mm-hmm.
I got really good at it. I don't know if all of the giftedness that was just simmering below the surface
It was
when
like,
I was not doing well in elementary, middle, and high school just came bursting out when I got to A&T. I don't know, but like it all just clicked because electrical was just math, right? Like it was just math. It was beautiful. I don't know. I just love
it
math.
made sense. It
It
just
made sense. It finally
So
all
they were
just,
right about your giftedness.
yeah, it all just made sense, right? Linear algebra, calculus 1, 2, 3, linear algebra 1, 2. Like, I mean, it's a lot of math. Physics 1, 2. I mean, it's a lot of math in electrical engineering. It all just made sense. It all made sense. Finally.
So what was it like going to an HBCU? Like, one, were your teachers people who look like you? And two, like, now that you're in a space where people don't always look like you, like having that foundation of people who do look like you, like, how did that impact your schooling?
Yeah, I credit everything that I've been able to do with going to A&T. I, again, times were different. I firmly believe that going to A&T, being in engineering, we'll just say at A&T general, but in engineering, just allowed me to develop and mature and be myself. There wasn't a narrative in my head around being a Black student. There wasn't a narrative in my head around being a woman in engineering. There wasn't a narrative in my head around being a Black woman trying to, working on this degree. It was just being myself, right? Because not whatever percentage of the students were Black, I wouldn't say all of them, but like practically all of them.
Critical mass.
Critical, right? I mean, and faculty and, some were great, some were not great. Some students were in the front of the class, some were in the back. Like we were all just there. And our race, ethnicity, gender were not, for me, something that I thought about. Right? And so I think it allowed me to develop a confidence in what I know and not be hampered by like who I am.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. I don't know that I'm saying that the right way.
That makes 100%.
We get it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Because then when you walk in what you know, you just know what you know, right? And when I left A&T, I did a few co-ops while I was there in Columbus, Indiana, of all places.
I didn't know there was a Columbus, Indiana.
Columbus, Indiana. I worked at Cummins Engine Company. Yeah, I have a thing also for diesel engines and trucks. I developed that, but I started Jeremy's face.
I'm just really confused. Like, we went from the Bronx
To electricity? To HBCU?
an HBCU, which I feel like that tracks, right?
Yes.
Like that tracks.
That tracks.
Middle of nowhere, Indiana, in a diesel
That is an
manufacturing.
excellent point.
space? Like,
Who bamboozled
can you make
to
that
get
make
there?
sense for us?
Please.
I don't know, but like there were the summer that I started, so I did 3 semesters. There were a good number of us, don't ask me how many, but like a handful-ish who went from A&T, who did co-ops up there in Columbus, Indiana. So we were a cohort, so doing things, cohort model. I mean, that was very much the
people.
way in which,
I got you.
Right? People. Yeah. So it wasn't like I went up there by myself.
Right.
It was great, right? I got to work on wire harnesses in my wire harnesses, and
what's a wire harness?
Yeah,
a wire harness. I'm like, that's a good question. What is a wire harness? It's a set of wires, right? Like wires, where on one end it would connect. So here it would connect like a circuit board. They'd have a gosh, I'm blanking on all the words. It would have like a set of pins, like a connector, right? An open connector where you have to plug something in that gets plugged into something on the other side. So it's the thing that's in the middle, right? You have two pieces of hardware that need to be connected and talk to each other, but there's some wires that have to go in the middle. And so you take a connector, you get literally like, if there's 5 pins over there and 5 pins over there, you have to figure out, map them to each other, and you crimp it on there and you put it all together.
Oh, you was doing real EE.
You can get one piece of hardware to talk to another piece of hardware, right? So like, it's just the interface between two pieces of hardware.
Okay.
And you were doing this as you didn't even have your degree yet, and you're doing this as a whole undergraduate student.
Granted, in hindsight, they may have been very simple. I don't know, but I was in love. Like I said, that thing in high school with the circuits, it was just like fabulous. So I was building, I think one semester I did wire harnesses. I think one semester I might have written some like test scripts. So little bits of software to test some of the engine functions in test facilities. And I don't remember what I did the third time, but met some really, really interesting people. One of whom became godmother to one of my daughters.
Aww, that's sweet.
Tony, who's the first Black woman electrical engineer who I'd ever met. So I met her up there. I also met, now that I'm thinking about, like a woman who was legally blind. I feel like her name was Deb, but it might not be, but it might also be Deb, who's legally blind. And so like, though, again, we didn't talk about accessibility, the way we do now. She was writing software, and it was really interesting to like see her. I remember she had, the font zoomed in really, really large, and she would, do it like, now that I know more about accessibility and been doing HCI research, to think back to, the 90s when I was having those experiences, thinking about, anyway.
That's so cool.
Yeah. It was actually really cool. So there I was, Columbus, Indiana. And
you were having this great experience
living the dream.
Electrical, and
living the dream.
One of two questions. One, we often hear from guests that they had to find community to shape what they did. Did you feel like you needed community at A&T, or was everybody just the community?
I think at A&T, everybody was the community. There was, again, there wasn't like I needed to find the Black community. So I still needed to find my community, right? Which wasn't, I don't do sports. I didn't do sports then. I don't do sports now, right? Like, so that wasn't my community. I ended up pledging. I joined, became an AKA while I was there. So that, eventually SOARS became my community. But I spent a lot of time in the engineering building. So like engineering, those folks, we were working out equations and hanging out. I mean, I don't know. That was my community. So I think, being in an HBCU environment, my community was Black, but it wasn't the Black community. Right. That makes sense. Right.
Right. I'm going to take over this next question. 2 of 2. Then you decided, I'm loving this electrical engineering experience. Let me go do computer science at Drexel. So what was that shift? Like, one was, was master's, PhD. Was that even on your radar? And then the shift. What was that like?
No, that was not on my radar. And there was a lot of life that happened in between. So I graduated from A&T, went to Dallas with, again, another cohort. They hired a bunch of us from A&T, and we all went from, North Carolina to Texas together. and started at Texas Instruments.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I started at Texas Instruments, but I was in the part that was at some point soon thereafter acquired by Raytheon, like their defense division. So I worked on missile and radar systems, writing test software, kind of moving a little bit away from hardware, but writing test scripts and software doing on missile and radar systems. So I did a lot of testing of hardware, but not developing hardware
physical
and
hardware.
physical hardware itself, right? So that's what I'm saying, the dream unfulfilled.
But did you like it, or were you just like, this isn't what I came here for?
No, I liked it. I never imagined I would be where I am now. So it was, like in my mind, I was going to eventually get a position doing hardware, but I was learning about hardware through testing it, right? And writing scripts to understand, so like I was still involved with hardware. I worked in a board shop, testing hardware. I worked in, so that was at Raytheon. I worked at NEC doing testing satellite telecommunications software around the time of Y2K. And so I was like a software quality engineer. And then my last
the
job.
babies don't even know what Y2K was.
Yeah. So let's go to Y2K.
A lot of them weren't even born, and I don't want to talk about it.
So there was this time in ancient days.
Once upon a time. Probably started around 1998, 97, where people thought, well, what's going to happen when we get to the year 2000? Because all of our systems are all based on, this clock and this calendars and like, oh my goodness, the turn of the century. We didn't have to go through this because when we went from, to this century, right, there were no computers. So like it was all going to fall apart.
We didn't have to reset stuff.
We didn't have to reset.
They were like, planes are going to fall out the sky.
You won't get your money.
Everything. People were panicked.
And so then we were doing a lot of software testing to like test software and all the systems to make sure that everything,
all the data.
Armageddon wasn't going to happen, right? When the clock struck midnight on December 31st.
And we all stayed up.
And we all stayed up. And we went.
And it was like,
just in case.
Whose midnight is it? Right? Because it was like, is it East Coast midnight? Is it West Coast midnight? Like,
didn't even think about your water stocked. You had to, the grocery, you had to get your canned foods, bottled water, cash out the bank.
East Coast went to sleep scared. Like, I don't know.
Terrified.
We stayed up. Like, we,
You just didn't know.
We even watched Left Behind. Not on purpose. That's a whole nother story. It's about you, Quincy. I won't get into that story.
Wow.
So yeah, we thought it was all going to just end.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For some period of time. World. Yeah. So like, yeah. So that was Y2K. It didn't end. We all went to sleep, woke up, and we're like, everything still works just like it did.
All this toilet paper and stuff.
And water and canned goods and cash.
For no reason.
Like,
yeah.
And we just kept living our lives. So I did that testing and then moved to doing to Nokia. So I worked for the cell phone manufacturer, was testing mobile devices. Somewhere in there, I was working on a master's part-time in software engineering. So like, I like school.
You decided that in college?
Yeah, I was going to say, where did we decide we like school? Because in high school, that was not the narrative.
I did not like it. I just wasn't good at it.
Okay, fair.
I like learning things, and so I think somewhere in there, you asked about getting a master's and PhD. I didn't really know what grad school was when I was an undergrad, right? Like I barely knew what getting an undergraduate degree was when I was an undergraduate, right? Like that just wasn't the world that I...
Your parents have college degrees?
No. And so, again, different world was like, you go to college.
Yes.
So
Whitley ain't go to grad school. She got her undergrad degree. They need to have a different world 2.0 where they get PhDs.
Yeah. So like, I just didn't know. When I was in undergrad, finishing, like I met grad students and was intrigued by the idea of like, oh, there's more. So what does that mean? And, I had a couple of friends who were staying for grad school. Like, what does that mean? So like, I started to learn about it, but just really didn't understand. And so when I moved to Dallas, I had friends who were like, oh, your job will pay for you to go to school, get more school. So it was like, okay. So I was kind of in that, like, I will keep going to school.
Yeah.
So I was working on a software engineering degree because it seemed, I don't know, like the good thing to do at the time, and was working full time. By that time I think I had 2 kids. So I had, I guess I can say their names, Madeline and Zora. I was going to say baby A and baby B.
Not baby A and baby B. Don't do them like that.
Madeline and Zora had appeared on the scene. And I got laid off. So I was working in industry. I got laid off. And was like, what the heck am I going to do? But I was working, like I said, I was working on my degree. And, at the time I also, let me think about this. So I was working on my degree part-time, executive master's program, that kind of thing, got laid off and was trying to figure out, what to do next. And I don't know how the idea came to me to go to school full time. But I think by that time I was like reading papers from one of my classes and learning about intelligent tutoring systems. So this is like where Kyla and my world started to collide.
Yeah.
Learning about intelligent tutoring systems, kind of doing the work to figure out like where I'd want to go to grad school. Came across some other papers, and decided, okay, I think I can like apply to go to grad school. Because like, what's the big deal about that? Yeah. I'll get a PhD in computer science. How hard could that be?
Wow.
Came across a paper by a woman whose name I just don't remember at this moment, and ended up like scheduling time to talk to her. And she was a professor at Virginia Tech. And I remember she said to me, so I'm telling her like who I am, what I want to do, kind of thing. I want to go to grad school. I was married, different husband, but I was married and had 2 kids. And she was like, well, do you know where Virginia Tech is? And I was like, well, yes, it's in Virginia, right? It's in Blacksburg, Virginia. And she's like, do you like know where Virginia Tech is? Like, you talk about this Black family you have, and I'm like, well, yes. And she's like, let me let you talk to one of my grad students.
Oh, wow.
She was like, let me give you the name and number of my graduate student. You give her a call. Her name is Jamaica Burge.
Oh, and here's her number. That's so crazy.
And I was like, okay, I will talk to this person, random stranger.
Random Black person.
Cold call this random stranger named
Black,
Jamaica
I'm
Burge.
Black. Tell me something.
And, out of that, so many things, including Black Computer, were born.
That is so wild.
But that's how Jamaica and I met. So needless to say, I did not apply to Virginia Tech.
She probably was like, girl, don't do it.
Yeah, you went to Philly. You went in the polar opposite of
So I went to
Virginia.
Drexel. Yeah, I went to Drexel.
This also fits the narrative of you going someplace that makes sense to us, aside from Indiana.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I think, Blacksburg might have been an Indiana vibe. But like, yeah, so I appreciate her advisor, because I'm totally blanking on her name, being like, maybe you should think about this let me let her say some things that I can't say. So that's how I met Jamaica. That's how I met Dr. Jamaica Burge. That's where our lives intersected when pre-grad school, when I was trying to figure it all out. And ended up going to Drexel putting a couple threads together. I was working for Nokia when I got laid off. So doing stuff with handsets. I had small kids and I was learning about software engineering and learned about intelligent tutoring systems and thought, these sound so great. How come we don't see these in more places? How do kids use them? I wonder how you can design things in ways that are like user-friendly for kids. And you also have to remind, this was like pre-iPhone, those days, right? So I was doing work on handhelds, right?
Man.
Like, this could be the wave of the future.
Right.
I wonder if you could put these like tutoring systems on these handhelds.
Imagine this, computer in your hand.
Ooh. And it can like help you do math.
Right.
And it'll be fun and engaging. And like, that is what I set out to do for my PhD.
That's cool.
So
yeah.
We're pretending like you just jumped into Drexel and found an advisor and everything was great. Like, what was it like figuring out who you would work with? And, was that even a challenge or just...
That was not the challenge because my advisor did games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like that was not the challenge. And I think I brought, because I had been doing the work in industry for Nokia, like I have brought this understanding of mobile devices or handheld, we called it. So he did games, he did like cognition, behavioral modeling. He brought all of that. And so like I was there to soak that part up. The handheld and all of that stuff, I kind of was like, oh, okay, I can do that part.
Right. It's like, it's all the other stuff I know, just on a different platform.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, it wasn't actually that hard to like find an advisor because I already kind of was like pretty specific, and in searching for places to go, I was looking for the work. I wasn't like it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go to Drexel. Whatever would I do there? Mm-hmm. It was like, oh, this is the work I want to do. Where can I find it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I think in that sense, my search was a little different than like dreaming of going to an institution and figuring out what the heck I would do there. I dreamed about the work I wanted to do. So I was very clear on that. And then it was just a matter of where can I go to do that work?
Which I can imagine at that time wasn't as easy to find as like people think. Like, I know stuff was on the internet, but like it wasn't as navigable and as user friendly then.
No. And it's pretty niche, right? Like what I wanted to do was pretty niche. And so I think I applied to like 3 places. I think I applied to CMU, which I did not get into. I applied to Drexel and Lehigh University. I mean, it was it wasn't like I applied 50,000 places, right? It was just 3 places. I've got into 2 of the 3. And then it was like, okay, I'll pick this one.
Did they pay for you?
I got a bridge to doctorate. Was new to Drexel. Like timing, God worked it all out where they paid for that. So like the whole degree maybe cost me $150.
Man, that's amazing.
Those were the days. Those were the days.
Amazing.
Yeah.
This is unheard of nowadays.
Yeah. Now, yes.
We won't talk about it right now because I'm gonna get upset.
Yeah. and that was my, so again, I mentioned Jamaica when I was applying.
Yeah.
I got into so I'm doing my timeline calendar, right? So I was admitted, moved from Texas with my family to Pennsylvania, started this program, was like, what is going on here?
And were they like, you want to be a full-time student in a whole nother state? Like, was there some resistance?
No, not an issue.
Wow.
Not an issue at all. I mean, like people move to go to schools. Like none of that was an issue to my knowledge or memory.
How did you feel about Philly?
Say it again.
How did you feel about Philly?
We lived in the Philly suburbs, so I didn't live in the city. I think my experience also was different because, I was married, I had kids by that time. So like my mind, like I was coming to get this degree.
Yeah, you were focused.
I was focused. I was doing hair at night,
Oh my goodness.
Had to, I didn't tell you I need a red t-shirt for tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
gotta do hair later. I'm not excited about it.
I have a boy and I'm very happy.
I wish I had a boy. I never had a boy. Oh. Yeah. No, but like that was my life. It was like, oh, tomorrow's cupcake day. Okay. Y'all waited till today to tell me I got to bring 25 cupcakes tomorrow and they have to be red icing with yellow dots. Like that was all. Just wait, Kyla.
I believe it. I believe it. Like everybody dressed like your favorite historical character. Get out of my face with that. You're going to be a ghost. It
starts in pre-K.
It starts in pre-K.
Listen, they had Decades Day last week.
Okay, it starts in daycare.
He's 1.
But the worst thing about, I mean, it's harder, like it's enough already. But then when like, I forgot to tell you tomorrow I need a yellow shirt, and it's,
they need it
8:45 and the store closes at 9 and like you got a test.
You've been in class, I was about to say, all day.
You've been here all day talking to me in my face.
And I got a test tomorrow, and I had my whole study plan, and now I got to stop and go get this yellow shirt because tomorrow's team day, and you forgot to tell me or give me the paper.
And the shirt you could wear, you can't find nowhere.
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Not looking forward to it at all.
It's coming.
We're just going to have a lot of we're going to have white shirts and Sharpies. And it's like, you waited this late, Sharpie this red shirt.
Although, I don't know. Boy energy is different. Girl energy is...
It's a lot of...
Mommy, I need exactly this. And if it is not exactly that, you are my enemy.
Forever.
Oh.
Until you're not.
Until they decide you're not.
Until they decide you're not.
Wow.
Yeah. No, that was grad school.
Doing grad school with 2 kids, I don't know how you...
And a husband.
And a whole husband.
And a dog. We got a puppy.
Oh, not the dog.
We got a puppy. His name was Charlie Brown.
So 3 babies.
So 3 babies. So like I would tell my kids, it's funny now, fast forward. I'm like, I'm going to do this to you when you're in college and you have a test. I'm going to call you. I'm going to just cry for no reason all night long.
I remember we were writing that paper, and one of your daughters like spilled a soda across your laptop, or no, not on your laptop. I think like on the table or something. You're like, I gotta go because they spilling soda. I was like, I don't know how Quincy's doing this. It's just constant pandemonium.
So I wanted my kids to go to college so I could pay them back. So when they were having tests and they could do things, we had to do things, I could just call them up and just say random stuff and just, need things at all times of day and night. Yeah.
So 5 red paper clips.
Yeah.
Were you like in your 20s when this is all happening?
By that time I was in my 30s. Okay.
Because I was like,
girl, you were strong.
By that time, I was in my 30s. So yes, Kyla. So that's when Kyla and I met. Mm-hmm. I think it must have had to have been Jamaica who introduced me to Juan Gilbert.
Probably.
So I met Juan, and he was like, "Well, you should go to this thing called Grace Hopper," and that's where so like. All the dots are coming together. So that's where I met Kyla and Yolanda and many others. Because back then, and there was 1 year where Hopper and Tapia were like...
Yes, they co-located.
Yes. Yeah. So, and then ARCs came. So that was kind of my entree into this community.
Because you were like, I don't need Black people. I got them in my school.
I mean, it just wasn't that. I just didn't think about it, right? I didn't think about it. And when I was in grad school, again, I was trying to do school and hair.
Out. Yeah,
and,
you were focused.
I was focused. So it was different. But I also was, because I had the experience at A&T, I also knew that Drexel was not A&T. Mm-hmm. Right. I also knew that computing was not engineering. And what was helpful for me being in the community was hearing other people's experiences because, again, in part because, again, I was focused on family as well. I didn't know what I didn't know. Mm-hmm. And so it was helpful for people to be like, oh, you should be publishing. And for Kyla to be like, I don't know if I'm not publishing. I'm like, shoot, I'm not publishing. Y'all want to publish?
Right. Okay. Like, let's get this paper out. We got good ideas. And if somebody publishes it, who are we to refuse them of our brilliance?
Of our brilliance. So like we were learning how this game was played from each other and the collective experience of our community of the things that we should do. And so, you talk to people about your advisors and they'd be like, that don't sound right. How was it with you? And they'd be like, well, no, this. And so like, though we were not many in number, I think we were able to like do a good job of like being honest and sharing our experiences, the highs and lows, all of those things with each other. And to learn from those, right? Like, and I think we did a good job of like learning those lessons from each other and going back and being like, Somebody told my advisor need to be doing this. I go back to my, when are you going to do this?
Right. Right. Because sometimes you don't have someone that you can bounce these kinds of ideas off of that you feel safe around.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that was, the part of that story is the birth of Black Computer, because we would see each other at conferences. We would have these conversations. We would talk about, how we got through. What was your quals like? Just all the things that we knew we needed that despite going to all these other places, we were not getting.
Yeah.
The things that we needed for ourselves.
Yeah.
And we're like, we need to because, we had been, I would say self-publishing, writing papers on our
publishing minus adult present or minus advisor present.
Advisor supervision, permission. We were doing all the things we were like, oh, okay, this is how you get money. Okay, this is how you do. We were just absorbing and learning and figuring it out.
It was grassroots. Because
it was grassroots.
Some of us weren't getting the advising that we needed. So it was like, oh, we have someone who's out. Like Yolanda was like, this is what you need to be doing. I think at that point she was at IBM, maybe?
Yeah.
She was in California. So she is already hours ahead putting up with us.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But that's what we were doing. It was like, this is what you need to be doing. No, this is what, my advisor didn't do this for me, but I think I remember Kyla say her advisor did that. We were sharing all the stories.
All the stories.
That's great.
And we could just be like, oh, we're all going through this. And also we're all going to get through this.
And we're all going to get through this. And then as one graduated, another one graduated, someone went to industry, Jamaica did a postdoc. And so I remember when she was doing that at UPenn. Penn State.
And then you did a postdoc.
Yeah. And I did a but I didn't know post, you know what I mean? So we were learning from each other, A, getting through it. And then B, what comes next and how you navigate those things.
Yeah.
And so I remember, when I graduated, the economy was bad.
That's right. Yeah.
And so I ended up doing, NSF gave CRA,
CDC, the Coalition for Diversifying Computing. When I came around, gone.
Well, that's
I was like, I'm gonna do the same postdoc that Quincy did. Where's that link? Link 404 error.
I was a CI fellow. Yeah, the economist. So I was a CI fellow that enabled me to get out and have somewhere to go. And I remember when I was finishing that, Chiquita and I were kind of on the market at the same time. And so she was helping me understand how to negotiate a faculty position and what that looked like. And, there's just all these things that, you don't know what you don't know. And to your point, Kyla, having a community of people who you can trust to talk about the things that you just won't read and that everybody won't tell you, but are super vitally important is really important. I remember when we were both, first year, second year professors, Chiquita and I were doing summer camps for kids. We had the robots. Girl, we were mailing robots. I was like, how many you need? We would put them in the mail. Okay, I'm going to send them to you this week. Yeah. Mail them down to Atlanta. She would mail them back to me. We were just supporting each other and figuring it out.
And you got to do what you got to do. And it's there's something about our experience that's just we need this as a community. So we will do whatever it takes. If it comes to reviewing something for someone, reading someone's application, reading an essay, there's just somewhere that you just pull this out of to be oh, I have to do this for you. I have to come through.
Yeah.
I love that. I have the same story, but it's in engineering, so it's fine.
Engineering is awesome, though.
I'm over there.
Y'all are awesome.
Thank you. I love y'all too. Otherwise I wouldn't be here.
This is true.
Yeah.
I tried to get out of it, but
no.
We'll talk about that another time. So you went the academia route, and it sounds like primarily due to the economy. And then you were like, I'm out.
Did you go straight to Bowie?
You got tenured.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went did a postdoc, became a professor. And it was like, okay, you publish or perish, right? You got to get your money, you got to get your papers, and was like running as fast as I could, learning how to build a lab. As again, the collective cohort of us were figuring that out.
Building the parachute on the way out the plane.
Yeah. Right. Like, learning how to do that. I was exhausted. I was really, honestly, literally exhausted. I met someone who mentioned to me this thing called the AAAS Science and Technology Policy Fellowship. At the time, I was healthcare.gov crashed, and there was this whole thing about like, computing and technology in government. And I was like, I will apply for this Science and Technology Policy Fellowship because like, I can't write another paper. I can't apply for any more awards, like write any more grants. Like I was just spent. I was spent. I was spent. And got the S&T Policy Fellowship, spent a couple years at NSF, and that's the National Science Foundation, doing that work and broadening participation in computing. And it was similar to what I had been doing as a faculty member, supporting Tapia, supporting Grace Hopper, right? Like supporting the conferences, supporting students, but I was doing it on the policy and the funder side.
What's that like? I'm so curious. Like, what was the day-to-day like at NSF?
Day-to-day at NSF, I think it's hard to remember what life was like pre-pandemic, like where there was no Zoom and, so it was, there were a lot of reading of proposals, not a lot of reading of proposals, but proposals, annual reports, thinking about what works, what doesn't work. I think having been a professor and being on the other side of those same communities, A, and B, being part of our community where we talked about the things that worked and didn't work for us that you never saw written about in papers or you weren't going to see written about in annual reports, I think gave me a perspective to say, like, I see the words that are written, but I also know there's a lot that's not written.
Right. There's some stuff that happened behind the scenes.
Some things that I know are happening behind the scenes that like need to be addressed. And how are we going to address that? And it's like, well, it's not written down. Well, I know it's not written down, but what I know to be true is this foolishness, or you know what I mean. And so I think it gave me a perspective on how things worked, and also how you can use all the levers to address the challenges, and understanding that not everyone is experiencing the room the same way.
Yeah.
Right. And so, some days were pretty boring as reading reports, reading whatever, some of it was, pretty exciting. There were panels and, looking at proposals. And so it really varied. A lot of, planning, meeting planning, event planning, but thinking about like the connection between bringing people together and the conversations that they would have, and the like what comes after and how you move a field. So that was it sounds kind of boring, but like,
how to move a field? That does not sound boring at all, because like, I feel like y'all like the meta researchers, where it's like you fund all these people to do research, and then as a whole, you're like, now what does the whole community need to go forward and do?
Yeah, what does the whole community do, and who haven't we touched, and who are we not supporting in the same ways, and what do they need, and how do we, like, it's just I feel like there's a lot of asking of questions, and thinking about what the answers are, again, what you hear, but also what you don't hear, that must be out and exist, and talking about engineering, and then looking across the other directorates or the other disciplines and saying, okay, well, here's what we know from engineering, like, is this happening in computing or vice versa? So it's a lot of like community understanding, and like understanding again, also having been a professor, not at an R1, right? to have a different experience about like, what are we requiring of people? And how much does this time take? Because y'all know everybody doesn't have this time. Or TAs, or, you know what I mean? Like,
or you might have a 4-4 teaching load and you're trying to do all this stuff.
And why are we asking? So I like to think I brought a different perspective because my path was different than most.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you fell in love with policy.
And then I fell in love with policy and started to think, because I like working at scale. Right. So
because you can see like the impact of what you're doing,
or not. Right. Because sometimes that also takes a lot of time. But like, it's the big questions. It's the thinking about how do you move a field, right? Which is different than like what you can impact in your classroom or in your lab or your department or your city or your state. But now you're like the whole field. How do we move the whole entire field in a particular direction? That to me is like really exciting. I like systems work. I'm not a theoretical computer scientist. Like that stuff was cool, but I like systems. I don't know, back to the engineering and the...
I like systems too.
You want to see the connections work.
The connections work. And how do we adjust the connections and who is it working for and not working for? And, right. Like how do you... And it's hard to do that work when you are... on the ground. Like I understand why it's hard to have that day-to-day on the ground perspective and the kind of meta high level, perspective. Right. I was talking to someone a few months ago and they gave me a compliment that I'll because I think it's cool. But he said, you're one of the very few people who has their feet firmly planted on the ground. Now I'm going to forget. The feet firmly planted on the ground, but you think like high in the sky. But you're like also a pragmatist. So it's like this blue sky pragmatist.
Yeah.
Because there's a way you can be really clear about what works and what doesn't work for people every day that is vitally important, but also have a way of an understanding of like how all of it works together that doesn't let you develop solutions that are impractical for people who have to actually implement them day in and day out.
And that's so important, like both of those purviews, like the global and the local perspective.
Yeah,
and
at the same time.
Most people they don't have that level of vision.
You can do one or the other for most people.
Yeah.
Like they can't do both.
Yeah, I do both.
It's like impossible. Black women,
we do it all.
We do a lot.
We
do a lot. We do
great.
Yeah, that plus a whole bunch more. Yeah, yeah.
That's why we got T-shirts and stuff right now.
Yes,
merch. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So Anita B and AAAS, you were running programs, right? Was that right after?
So when I left, right after NSF, I went to OSTP for a few months, doing like STEM education, some of my brother's keeper, entrepreneurship, innovation work. And then when the Obama administration ended, I went to AAAS for about 2 years-ish. And then Anita B for 2 years-ish. And then went into the Biden-Harris administration.
So you were appointed.
Yeah, I'm like, we're saying you're like went into. I'm like, girl, you were selected.
I'm just checking to make
That's
sure.
That's a very generous interpretation of being.
But how did all these opportunities like present themselves?
Because the United States.
I mean, I feel like
because you're like, oh, I was at NSF, and then one day I'm at OSTP. Like,
did you get an official letter with a stamp on it? And a signature.
I think it's a golden ticket in my head, but
I feel like I should make something up to like rise.
She didn't say no. That's all
she did not say no.
She did not say no.
I did not say no. More like phone call and email, but you did not say no. But no, so that I had the opportunity. I mean, I think when you do good work, people recognize that. I think there's also, time and place and opportunity that have to serendipitously aligned and all of those things aligned. And I had the opportunity to meet some, like when I was at NSF, meet some really great people who were working in the White House and being clear about like a vision of work and a body of work that I would do if I were there. And how to continue work that was going on. And so like someone was like, hey, do you want to come and, do this thing? And I was like, okay. Sure. And so, but in the meanwhile, I think you mentioned earlier, Jeremy, that like, I was still an academic, right? So I was on leave from my academic.
I didn't know you were still on leave.
So I was on, when I was on leave. And then I came time to a point where it was like, you got to come back or don't come back. But in the meanwhile, I applied for tenure and promotion. So I did get those and was like, I got to decide. Do I come back or don't come back? And I was like, I think I'm going to try this other thing because
it's kind of nice over here.
It's kind of nice. It is also kind of nice. Again, I like working at scale, a different type of impact. But I thought, when else would I get this opportunity?
Exactly.
Were you less tired?
I don't know that I was less tired, but what I was less of was doing all the things. So like I was teaching, I was doing my research, I was supporting students, right? So like I was doing all those things.
She was doing hair. I was
doing hair.
That did not stop.
That did not stop,
unfortunately.
Yeah. But like when I switched over into policy, I wasn't teaching. I wasn't running a lab, right? I was still, in touch with and supporting students. I wasn't grading, right? There were lots of things that I wasn't doing anymore, though I was doing other things. It wasn't those things. And so I was still tired. I'm still tired now. I guess just tired. But like, it was just different, right?
Yeah.
It was different. I wasn't doing all the things I was doing.
You were tired for a different reason.
I was tired for a different reason.
Would it be accurate to say you weren't like emotionally drained? Not emotionally, but just like there's things about my job I don't enjoy doing. When I'm tired from that, I'm just like, but if I'm tired from having a good time and doing stuff that I think matters and is impactful, I'll be tired all day for that. Like,
yeah, it's a different kind of tired. Right. I think it's
like the tired you get like when you go on vacation and you come back and you're just like, it was a good vacation. I rested, but now I got stuff to do.
Yeah. Or you come back from vacation tired and you're like, oh, it was a good vacation. I rested. I'm tired. Like I just need a nap because I just rested.
Vacation from vacation.
I need a vacation. Yeah. So it was kind of like that, right? It was kind of like that. I mean, the hours were different. By early December, my body's still like winter break, and that doesn't work that way in outside of academia, right? Yeah. So again, a different kind of tired.
Excellent point.
You are running now all year. There's no summer break.
No summer.
No.
Dang,
no
summer break.
No. There's no summer break. There's like 2 weeks vacation. Break. There's no spring break.
No fall break. No homecoming.
Break. There's no homecoming. None of that. Yikes. So like, yeah, it's different. That's what I'm saying. It's different, right? There you're tired because you're like, I just got to get those papers graded right after Thanksgiving. I got 2 weeks to get them back. Yeah. Then finals, and then you're like, whoo.
Glad that's over.
No.
Don't talk to me.
Yeah. My body's still like, don't talk to me. I'm like, yeah, body, no, that's not the clock we're on anymore. We are still Thanksgiving the week after that. Is just the week after that is the week after that.
You got to recover.
The week after that.
Yeah. Okay.
And the week after.
But turkey doesn't get to settle. Got it.
It's just a different, especially when you work with academics and y'all be putting all these like out of office. I'll be back January 15th. Whatever, 5 weeks from now is.
We go on holiday.
Call me.
Right. I'm on holiday.
Yeah. The semester is over. I will be back in 6 weeks. And I'm like, I'm going to need this answer next week because we don't take 6-week holidays over here. Like, can you just please answer my email?
People don't know about that. They don't know about that.
They sure don't.
Yeah, I used to know about that.
When I was at UMBC, we had 6 weeks for winter break. And that was the part that broke me when I went to grad school because we were back Jan 3 that first year. I'm like, but I just left. Like, I'm back again. Yeah. And we would go back like the last week of January. So like my undergrad, I did not know how good we had it.
Yes, that University of Maryland system. Yeah, it gets that winter because they have that mini semester in there. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Good old mini mester.
Maybe I need to move.
It's so good.
I'm not going to say you should or shouldn't because I know some of your people down there, but yes, mini mester is...
The mini mester was great. You had 4 weeks, 5 weeks. You could learn a new skill, have a whole new course under your belt.
Totally decompress.
Or go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Mini mester is the bomb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mini mester.
Good to know.
Yeah.
I'm writing it down.
Yeah. Mini mester. Yeah. Mini mester. So, yeah. So it's been an interesting career, right? Like, as I mentioned, doing the work in between. When else are you going to get a chance to work at the White House?
What's the coolest thing you've done? Like that you're just like,
that you can tell us
about this. Yeah, right. Because there's lawyers, right? So what's the coolest thing we could talk about?
I don't know what's the coolest thing. I think the coolest thing that I've experienced is hearing Vice President Harris, in her remarks, like talk about work that I've done.
Oh, that's great. Say more.
Like that to me has been the coolest because, you don't know, like you work really hard. And I'm sure for both of you, right? Like you work really hard. I have a couple of really cool things, but like you work really hard. You don't know, you do the best you can do.
Yeah.
No one or nothing is perfect and you just don't know. Yeah. Right. So like there were like in the in-between time or even like when I went back, I would get an email some kind of way of someone would say like, oh, I remember when you had us for this meeting, back in 20, whatever. And like, here's how this work has continued.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
and it's
great.
Like, oh, wow.
That's great.
That's great, right? Like, because you don't know.
Impact.
Yeah.
It has impact. That's long beyond, what you would think of, or you can even like imagine in the moment. And again, you're doing all of these things. You're running this race so hard that it's just hard to even like think beyond that. And so like hearing about things that I've done, or when I went back the second time and I would say, well, back in Obama, we did this thing. And someone would say, oh my goodness, I was there. And it's like, oh, that's cool. Aww. You remember that? Like, was that a good event? And
right.
That was great. Like you just don't know, right, how work lands. And so being able to like think about all of our experiences, our collective experiences, right? And how to bring that into policymaking in a way that represents and is true to us, but also millions of other people and their experiences. And then hear, the Vice President of the United States talk about it, and you like know what led you to have the work be shaped the way that it is like an amazing feeling.
That's
absolute amazing feeling.
It's incredible.
That is incredible.
Yeah. It's an amazing feeling. Like it's an amazing feeling.
I don't know the coolest thing. Here's the most amazing thing that's ever happened in life. Like,
I'm curious. Like, was there anything like just surprising to you about like transitioning into policy from being an academic and like you were also in industry? Like, I feel like you've had your feet in lots of different sectors. Like, was there?
Yeah, I think one of the things that was most surprising is how transferable our skills are. So like I thought, oh, I'm a professor, like I know this thing, I know to do this thing in this way in my office, in my lab, in my classroom. Like, but those skills and the way in which we problem solve and think about things and approach problems and just understand them is highly transferable to the policy world. And I would not have guessed that. I'd have thought
I would not have guessed that either.
Yeah. The writing, the writing is a little different, but I don't know. I'm biased on like engineering and computer science, but like, we're very concise. So like you live in this world of like one pagers where it's like, how do we take all of this information and literally put it into one page? As computer scientists, we can keep it short.
Yep. Keep it simple.
Keep it short.
This is what you need to know. The end.
They're
One
good
page.
with fluff. Yeah. They want color. They want anecdote.
No, there's no fluff, no color, no anecdote. It's a one pager, right? Like that is something that, yeah, I'm a computer scientist. It's like binary. It's this, it's that. Like, it's just, you could put it in one page.
Yeah.
Very transferable skill.
If you need 2 pages, that means you didn't spend long enough writing it. Get it to one page.
Get it to one page, right? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like some of those kind of things, I think a lot about methods. Had a conversation one day with a colleague about like methods, the methods section. And they were like, people are like, I hate the methods section. And I'm like, I got to get this right.
Yeah.
Like, granted, I'm not writing a paper, but it's like, I need to be clear about my approach and, solve. And it's like, I'm sure there were plenty of times where people are like, girl, you are not writing a dissertation. Just relax.
But it needs to be clear.
Somebody appreciated it.
But it needs to be clear. It needs to be well thought out. I need to know what is my end. They're like, we just need you to do whatever. I'm like, well, how many people did you ask? So like some of that stuff, I had to learn to like keep it to myself. Because nobody else caring about all that. It's like, yeah. You asked how many people?
When it came time to report it, though, I bet they cared.
Right.
Well, yes, like it had to be tight, but like I knew that it was tight because my N was more than 5.
Yeah.
Like I had power.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I knew it was tight because there was not a null result. Like I knew, like I had to like do that in my head, but like I realized quickly that like sharing that out with everybody, nobody.
They're just like, whatever. Where is the part I asked for?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So what are you doing now? Like, I want to know about this new adventure that you're on. This is so cool.
This new adventure is called Futures and Innovation. We might have a website. We might not have a website. As I was thinking about this, I'm like, I don't know if we ever put it back online. So we own the domain. It'll be online again soon. Futures and Innovation was something that was... as the administration ended, I knew I needed to do something and decided to try my hand at consulting. And then, you got to have a name for your business.
Yeah.
At one point, it was going to be called Quintelligence. Because
I like that.
Right? Quintelligence.
I could see it.
Yeah. I spelled it 5 different ways, 5 different times. And then was like, probably not a good thing to call something a name that you yourself actually can't spell. Right?
Yeah, point made.
Yeah, right. So it was like, okay, we will not call it Quintelligence.
Yeah.
So we landed on Futures and Innovation. Yeah, right. Not as exciting, but
it's not as catchy.
But
maybe
easy
you have
to spell.
a program called Quintelligence or something.
Yeah, I think that is going to stay.
An offering.
Yeah, an offering or something like that, right? But like the business is called Futures and Innovation, where my husband and I we do work on futures. So like strategic foresight. So we do that kind of work now. I'm doing a few projects focused on STEM education, AI education, space. When I was at the White House, doing like space, STEM education and workforce development for the space sector, for space industry. So still doing that work, just as an independent consultant and contractor for a few clients, and looking to continue to grow that and just think about how to continue to do the good work. There's a lot of insight that I have. There is a lot of need. The landscape has quickly shifted. And I think it is important in this moment and in the moments to come to not just think about how we, survive right now, but what we are building for our kids and grandkids. And I think we have an opportunity in this moment to really, as hard as it is, even for me some days, to think beyond the immediacy of now, to like 25 years from now. what will we have done, right? And what is the vision for that future? And how do we set the course for that future? And that's the work that I really, really enjoy doing right now.
Because we don't want to leave like an entire generation of folks out of the opportunities that STEM can afford them.
Yeah.
We just can't do that.
Yeah.
So if someone wanted to talk to you about consulting, like what is your audience? What types of like offerings could they look for?
Yeah, my audience is everyone.
People with money.
Yeah. Jeremy said it, not me, but thank you, Jeremy.
You're welcome.
And it's a shift, right? Like this is the first time I've not worked for someone else. And I'm very used to being open and free and just doing all the things. So like developing business acumen is new and different for me. So thank you for saying that, Jeremy. But I do work with, nonprofits, small organizations, large organizations. We've done projects focused on the future with universities, some of the professional societies. So like, I think there's so much work to be done that I want to do. I mean, I've been privileged and blessed to like work on projects that I really believe in, and believe that I can have an impact and steer projects in a way that is going to make them not just be same old, because like that's not getting us anywhere, right?
Yeah. I'm excited to hear that you said, and have more impact.
Have more impact.
Because you've already done so much in this community.
Yes.
Yeah. And I want to like, it's a lot of incremental stuff, which is fine. There's a time for that, right? But I feel like we are in a moment where we got to do some leapfrogging because, to your point, there's a generation or two
potentially,
who are, like it's here. I was going to say it's coming, but it's here.
It's here.
It is.
It's here. It's here.
And it's gonna fall on us, which is why we're like, we ain't doing none of it. Out of the other stuff, right? Like we're gonna do what we've always done.
Yeah.
To support us, to support our community. I'm not doing anything extra.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not doing anything extra. I also realize as, I've kind of done this chronology of my life that as I got older, I also have to take care of myself.
That's right.
Right. We also, don't do enough of that as Black women in general. And as we are caretaking for everyone else, we are realizing, hey, there's some things for our own health and well-being and bodies that we need to like pay attention to.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And, I did not appreciate that. So you say I'm tired. Yes, I'm tired now. Probably all 100% are tired. But, I think it's important that we also talk about how we care for ourselves, right? How we care for our bodies, how we care for our future so that we're here, for the next generation, right?
Yeah. I like that there's like now the narrative of pushback on the term magical Black woman, because it almost seems as though, oh, you're so magical, you don't need rest, you don't need self-care, you don't need these things. And
I need a nap.
Right. Yes, we are strong, but we are also human. So I like the fact that we're like, look, and I can also go to sleep.
And I can also go to sleep. And I can sleep in.
Yeah.
And get a massage.
And I can get a
Go
massage.
to a spa.
Exactly. Like the push to be magical is not like, because it was almost like an excuse to just take on more of a burden for someone else.
Not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, we do this and as I mentioned, growing up in the Bronx, I mean, both my parents are still alive, but my mom has late stage Alzheimer's. My dad is 93 and,
wow.
I'm doing a lot of their caregiving from afar.
Yeah.
Right. And so there are a lot of things that I wish I could do and wish I could do more of for our community. But I think life just got to a point for me these last few years where I just had done all I could do for everyone else. Right. Yeah. And they needed me in a way that I didn't expect that they would, and also couldn't wait.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And so
it was urgent.
I've been like quiet in the community. Right. In a way that I sometimes really struggled with, and felt guilty about. But at the same time, it's like, I got to take my mom I got to travel to take her to the doctor this week and next. Like, you realize there's only but so much, to your point, right? Like, it's not magic.
Yeah.
it's there's only but so much that, I can do as one person. And at that particular moment, in these past few years, they have needed me in a way that has caused me to have to show up for them, and myself, right? And I'm like, I hope that I'd done enough to come back to the community when I'm able to, like, come back to the community. And so I appreciate y'all. It's been, as we started out, 3 years, we've been trying to get this to happen.
We just thought the government was like, had an embargo on your life.
You were a whole Inspector Gadget, FBI, undercover cop. Like, we like, oh, Quincy is big, busy, like
background checks, all that.
But that was part of it.
Clearance.
Yes. I'm sure that was part, but it was also just like,
life is life.
Life is lifing. Right, in ways that it hadn't
unfortunately
ever before.
And I feel like one thing about our community in general, it's a true community where just because I don't see you doesn't mean, oh, now you're out of the community. Like, we allow folks to, not allow, but, people can come back and it's, oh, girl, where you been? Love on you. We don't miss a step. We don't miss a beat. It's not like, oh, well, you weren't here for that. So are you still part of us? Like, it's not even that.
It's not even that.
Because life is life.
Life is life. And so, like I said, in ways that I had never imagined or planned for, it's just been,
we're like in the sandwich years now.
Yeah.
Like, where we've got little people and we've got older people. And
yes.
That is a whole role that you can't prepare for. Like, it's like, it just kind of happens to you.
When your mama and daddy need a whooping, and also your child, like, what are we doing? Like, they say you're parenting up and parenting down. Like,
yes. And I think I'm hopefully somewhere in this sandwich generation. But my oldest is now, we have another Dr. Brown in the house. She finished med school. I think she was in. See, when I started my PhD, she was in second grade.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And the fact that this little
spilling soda on the soda on the table.
I remember you just being like, don't have kids. This kid's getting on your neck.
She's not going into surgery, is she?
No, she's moving to Philly in a couple of weeks, or the end of this week, actually. But yeah, so she got her. She is now a full on real medical doctor, starting residency.
Believe it.
And then my youngest,
so you kick her all the way out. Bye.
Yeah, my youngest Zora is working on her master's. She is wants to be a behavioral therapist and works with students with special needs. And but yeah, they came to the conferences. Yes. They were at many a Grace Hopper, standing beside me, pulling up, fighting in the hallway, right? Like all that.
But the fact that they got to see you, and this is completely off topic, the fact that they got to see you excel in your career academically, do you think that had an impact on like where they are today?
I wholeheartedly believe so. I remember the first time when Madeline talked about going somewhere so she could do a poster. Aww. And I was like, oh, she's doing a poster. She saw me do posters.
Yes.
Right? So they knew about research, right? Yeah. And they saw not just me, but they saw you, Kyla, and they were introduced to, all these Black women and, few brothers as well.
Yeah.
You know, all of us, right? Like, and they saw us year after year after year, and they look at people like, I don't know who you are. I don't know how you know my name. But like, they saw us doing the things. They traveled to Chi conferences, right? They knew what it meant.
And it was normal to them. It wasn't exceptional. It was regular to them. Like, oh yes, of course people who look like me do this.
Right. And I saw you at this conference, and we saw you again at this conference. And yes, my mom told me about, you know, she's dragging me all over. Right. Like that was their normal. And I remember when I was in grad school, being like worried for their future and not knowing if I was doing the right thing. And Venice Keene, she's at Drexel. I saw her just a couple months ago and told her that. I remember her telling me that my kids would be better off because I was doing that, because I was working on my PhD. She was like, she said, when they go to college, they will know how to do their laundry. And they will be in college with kids who don't know how to do their laundry.
That's real.
And I was like, okay, are you sure?
Right,
you know, like,
you don't know. You're doing all this, and there aren't people who are in your cohort or people came in with you who are doing the same thing. So you're like, am I the odd one out? Yeah. You just don't know. And I think my girls are better off for it. I know, you know, we have some of our friends who have shared stories about their parents going to school when they were, you know what I mean? So like they seemed to be okay and their parents had done it. And so I think, you know, all of our kids are going to be all right. And I think we are all committed to not just excellence for our own sake and our own community, but for their sake and, you know, their kids. And I think that is what is, will continue to allow us to persist. I love it.
Quincy, this has been amazing. I want people to be able to find you, connect with you, maybe hire you. How do they reach out to you? How do they connect?
The best way is LinkedIn. Quincy K. Brown, because if you don't put the K in there, you'll find some other people, but it's definitely a K. On social media,
just don't look for her there. Yeah,
you'll find me at Quincy K. Brown. It's the same handle, but I don't know how to use it. So like...
Yeah, you're not big on social media. You're like, when I see a post, it's like, oh, I got to put an alert on. Let me know when there is
every 5 years. I put something up there, but I will like other people's stuff. I will heart other people's stuff. It's all confusing.
You're a lurker.
I'm a lurker. But like LinkedIn is probably the best way. My email address is also Quincy K. Brown. I mean, it's Quincy K. Brown.
And we'll link to it in the show notes so people can get in touch with you.
Yeah. And make sure you include the picture, our first picture and our second picture. And then
I think I did like a side by side or up and down with them. I'm going to put that one in there.
Yeah. This is a community.
Yes.
This is a now we can say long-standing.
Yes, we are a long-standing community. And it's also a testament to what happens when you have critical mass, when you get people together with a common experience that don't know what's happening, but it's all happening to us at the same time. we help each other to get through it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I appreciate that we've always been like transparent.
Yes.
And, you know, we didn't put on airs. Like when we didn't know. If something didn't smell right, we were like, girl, that don't seem right to us.
Come. And we call each other to the carpet, like, and not in a mean way where it's like, you know, let's just come over here and chat real quick.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it.
I'm glad. And we're still standing. So I think that in and of itself is a testament to the strength of our connection in our community.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, thank you for sharing with our community.